So I'm actually going to welcome Ashley Wall, and that is the Vice President for the Summersville Area Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, on behalf of the Summersville Area Chamber of Commerce, I would like to welcome you today. As Lindsay said, I'm the Vice President of the Chamber, but also a local business owner. I had the opportunity to listen to this presentation last week, and I was blown away as a business owner at how this could not only help our students, but our businesses. The goal of the Summersville Area Chamber of Commerce is to promote, support, and enhance the businesses and the community. I encourage you to listen closely to the presentation and learn just how this presentation has to do with the overall building of our schools. It's important that we learn the facts and details for ourselves to better understand the overall goal of why we're here today. At this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Donna Tiedrich, the Superintendent of Nicholas County Schools.
Thank you. I am very appreciative of the opportunity to present today. If we can turn the lights down. I'm not sure what happened.
That's okay. We'll get it.
Okay, we'll put it up. One of the things, just to give you a little bit of my background, I've had various roles throughout my life, from being a magistrate at the age of 22 years old, the youngest ever elected in the state, and having juveniles come before me with no direction. Those are lost, and then as they became adults, they ended up in the adult system, which is very unfortunate. It was always very troubling for me. And because of that, I decided I wanted to go into education. So in education, I became a teacher. I developed the curriculum for law and public safety. Saw great successes there. Went on to become a principal. As a principal of an elementary school, I enjoyed it thoroughly, but I was quickly approached by the Department of Education and asked to support them in a role for school improvement, and I did that. While at the Department of Education, I was there 12 and a half years, and one of the things that I did was I traveled across West Virginia, not only across West Virginia, but across our nation to talk to students. I often ask students, what are your plans after you graduate? Unfortunately, the majority of the students had no idea, no direction, or I'm going to college, or I don't know. Well, what do you want to do when you go to college? I don't know. We're losing so many of our students. The data right here in Nicholas County shows that in 2013, we had approximately 69% of the students leaving our school systems without a skill, without the opportunity to be employed. And I believe it was 21% maybe ended up getting their bachelor's degree. So what happens to the rest of those students? 70% of our students, we're losing them. 6.5 years ago, when I was hired for this county, we had 106 students in our Career Technical Education Center. This year, we have 450 enrolled. We have the highest number of students ever in the county's history. Now, due to scheduling issues, not all of those students were able to continue with the center, but the majority of them did. So a few years ago, I started working on some of the things that I realized as an issue. Bringing relevance to education, helping students understand their future opportunities for employment. I have built some great relationships. I will tell you that I have built a phenomenal relationship with New River. Actually, Tori is in the audience today. And we are going to have the first ever LPM program for our high school students in Nicholas County. It's a phenomenal opportunity. I tried to develop that when I was in college, or at the Department of Ed, and was not successful. Dr. Bonnie Copenhagen, she went into action, she developed it. She not only developed that, she has committed, and we have worked through the process to offer associate's degrees to every single program that we have in this new school. Every program. Not only that, I've been working with Dr. Mark Manchin, who is a close personal friend of mine at Glenville State College. He is committed to providing a bachelor's degree track for every single program on our campus right here in Nicholas County at our schools. The reason this is so important is I need everyone to understand that we're not dumbing down the curriculum. This isn't just about blue-collar jobs. This is about helping students find their voice, find their passion, find a rewarding career, whether it be blue-collar or whether it be going on to college and having a white-collar job. Those opportunities must be there. We've worked diligently on this plan for a solid 4 years. The past 2 years, Tracy Chenoweth has worked with me. We've put it all on paper. We have a pre-K through adult plan for Nicholas County schools. So I want to start with the model. This is, of course, the view of what the new, and I'm sorry this is not bright enough for maybe you to see, but this is what the new Nicholas County High School and Summersville Middle School will look like. So the Nicholas County High School policy 6200 for the State Board of Education says all new schools shall be built as a comprehensive high school. So because of that policy, we were able to actually secure an additional $42 million from FEMA to actually build a comprehensive high school. What that does for us is move us from our students only having opportunity for 12 programs to 30. That's huge. Because right now it's so limited. It was just a couple of years ago, we didn't even have anything to teach kids about programming, about computer repair. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have a law and public safety. We didn't have a graphics design program. And there's so many other things that we don't have that's planned for this new school. We have a cosmetology program. We have a pet grooming program. We have an auto body program. We have an automotive technology program. We have apprenticeships for HVAC, for plumbing. We have engineering programs. We have adventure tourism programs. We have programs that I believe actually will pique the interest of every single child in our county. So when a student walks into our school over here, that's going to be the comprehensive high school, they will pick a pathway. They will say, I'm going into health occupations, or I'm going to go into welding, or I'm going to go into carpentry. That student will go into that program. They will have their English, their mathematics, and their social studies centered around that lab. The most important thing that's going to happen, other than the certifications and the licensures and the associate's degrees afforded to them, is they're going to see the relevance in their learning. That means in the mathematics that they're being taught, it will be related to welding. It will be related to healthcare. It will be related to cosmetology. So that students will no longer ask that question, when will I ever use this again? So this brings relevance. You know, it sounds like a very simple concept, right? It's not happening. It's happening in pockets. Tracy has some things that she's going to show you in this PowerPoint, that we have schools across the United States that are offering a geometry course. They go out to build a house. That's how they teach geometry. We're missing the boat in West Virginia. Our kids deserve to have as much or more than any other kids in the United States. There's absolutely no program that we have found that offers the full academy approaches we're offering. Because we're not only going to offer this for high school students, but we're going to offer this for elementary school students. And I forgot to bring the outfits, but I have outfits that the kids will wear. We have all of that stepped out. It's going to show kids are going to be exposed to the different careers. They're going to listen to the different guest speakers. They're going to have structured play while they're wearing those outfits. Because what's the purpose of that? To excite them, to engage them, and help them determine a pathway forward in life. The middle school students will have the opportunity to have a more honed pathway. It will get a little deeper. And we will provide them with additional experiences. For example, they will have simulated welders so that the students are exposed. So our 6th grade and 7th grade students, they'll use the simulated welder. They will have different types of programs that they will actually participate in and see if they like it. Then when they get to 8th grade, they will be more hands-on in the academies available to them in high school. And then, of course, our 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students, they will be on target to earn an associate's degree, earn a license, get an LPN license, which I have projected. I'll be presenting to the board and asking them to allow me to move forward to run our first cohort of LPN students in August. And my Nicholas County High School principal, Candy Rapp, and my Richwood High School principal, Scott Williams, are 100% on board. They're going to make it happen. And New River's going to make it happen. We're going to graduate these kids as LPNs, just like we're graduating kids right now with earning an electrician's license. We are just scratching the surface. One of the things this new facility is going to do for us, it's going to provide us an opportunity to deliver instruction in a very unique way. A way that we've never been able to deliver instruction before. So that's why it's so critical to move forward in this. It's been a long, hard process, and it's very unfortunate. But if you go back and look at some of the other counties, when you receive FEMA monies, a lot of times it's taking 10, 11 years to build schools. That's absolutely unacceptable. But when you have permitting issues, when you encounter things like that, it just takes a while. But we're there. We're ready to put the bids out. The bids went out for the Richwood area schools. We're going to have our pre-construction meeting on the 31st at 1:30 in Richwood, and then the contractors will be free to move forward and start that construction. So mid-March, we have the bid process that will go out for the Glade Creek Complex. Within 30 days, after the 30-day mark, we will accept the bids. They will hold the contract for 60 days, and at that point, contractors will be turned loose to start working on the Glade Creek Complex. So we're looking at May for 2025 for the Richwood Complex. We're looking at anywhere from August to December for I would like to start school on time in our new school in 2025. So we're moving. We're going to be there. So again, this is a pre-K through 12 concept, actually adult, because I believe that adult education is something that's really been missing in Nicholas County. I have tried to offer it many times, but we've not been successful. I think with this new school and new approach, I think that we will be successful, especially with New River partnering with us and with Glenville State College partnering with us. This shows you the opportunities for career awareness. It's all about making our little ones aware. It's too often that our small kids do not know what's available to them. So what do? They go the path that mommy and daddy went, or grandma and grandpa went. They don't know. We must expose them. Think about something that you love doing. It may be a hobby, but it excites you. Our lives are too short to live in this world doing something that we're not passionate about. And I'm going to give you an example. At 6 o'clock this morning, my son sent me a text with some kind of big transformer thing up in the air. Look, Mom, look what I get to do. Not, look what I have to do. Look, Mom, look what I get to do. He's excited about his job. He loves his job. He's a blue-collar man, and I'm proud of him for it. I have a PhD. My husband has a master's degree. My son makes more than both of us. So there's opportunities. Our kids need to be made aware of those opportunities available to them. And then we've got the career exploration, which is the middle school, and then the career technical, which is high school, and with the licensure, certifications, associate's degrees, dual credit. One of the things that's really phenomenal, and I'll have to hand it to Chris Hanshaw. He's my IT director, but he does a little bit of everything. He's an out-of-the-box kind of thinker. He said, you know one of the things that I think's missing? I said, what's that? He said, construction. Think about the construction trades. Why don't you teach in that entrepreneurship program how to get your contractor's license? Prep them for their contractor's license. I said, done. So when our kids graduate, they're going to be prepped to go be ready to take their contractor's license. That's why I need input from the community. That's why we need input from parents, for students, because this is something that I have the complete structure developed now, but we are still looking for support and input from you. The core academic West Virginia standards and objectives for career technical education, that's all established with the Department of Education. But one of the things that we've gone beyond is we also realize that some students have a passion for art. Art is something that I feel like across the state is pretty much ignored. Art becomes well, if you want to do that, that's something as a hobby. Well, we need to prepare students for the arts. So one of the things we have developed, whether you're into taking pictures, or drawing, or doing sculpture, or doing dance, or doing theater, or whatever, voice or instrument, the students will have the opportunity in this school to complete their 4 courses in that program, and then they have to pick. They're either going to go into an education track, or they have to go into an entrepreneurship track that's coupled with business. Because we have students who are going to graduate with a skill set. The day of sending our kids out the door of the high school unprepared for life is unacceptable, and we must act now, because we are losing our kids. And this program is going to help move that forward. And I apologize, you might listen to me give this presentation 15 times and it'll be different every single time, because I can't go by script, and I apologize. But I'm trying to do my best. She hasn't whacked me yet. So again, choice, voice, future applications, and standards. I think it's important for hands-on. Think about it. When you were in school, probably most of you had the sit and get method. You sit down and they throw a worksheet at you and that's what you get. No. Kids learn best by being interactive, being in control of what they're learning, understanding the relevance, being excited, self-direction, growth. That's what this is about. We have real-life examples, technology. So one of the things that I think is really important to discuss, when I said we're going to have 30 programs, we can't hire 30 additional teachers. But what we can do, we have so much overlap in some of our programs, there's going to be opportunities to provide things that's specific to students. So for example, a student who wants to have HVAC, I do not have an HVAC instructor, and I do not plan to hire one. But what I do have is a phenomenal electrical instructor. The student spends 2 years in electric, then they go out of the program, and they spend 2 years working with an HVAC technician. Where do you have people on board willing to do it? If you have a kid who's interested in plumbing, they spend 2 years with our carpentry teacher, then the next 2 years they go out half days, or it may be all day their senior year, working with a plumber. Same with masonry. So there's opportunities that are available to us. A lot of times those opportunities are not taken advantage of because why? People don't understand state board policy and what's available to them. You want to know why I know? Because I was a state board policy guru at the Department of Ed. I know the loopholes, I know how to maneuver us through, and I know how to make things efficient without asking for waivers and giving our students the best instruction possible. The Department of Ed is excited about these advances. They're always looking for new and improved things, and I hope that in hearing some of these things that you'll realize it is new and improved. It's not anything that's like a crazy idea that's like unobtainable. This idea is simply going to be, and Tracy can talk to you about this, it's simply going to be providing relevance and examples in your core academic classes to the areas of interest that the student is enrolled in. Again, associate's degrees, New River, Dr. Bonnie Copenhagen, I cannot say enough good about her. She's phenomenal. The apprenticeships programs, national certifications, state certifications, local certifications, and licensures. Guys, sending someone through a program with a feel-good certificate doesn't do us any good. What I need is each of you to be a business partner with me and tell me what you want your students to know and be able to do. And I'm going to produce those students for you. Then you can take them in on an apprenticeship program to decide if you want to hire them. They're going to understand the importance of being drug-free, showing up to work on time. They're going to understand those, and they're going to have the skill sets that you want them to have. I've talked so much, I'm going to flip through some of these. The students will take responsibility for their learning, and we see it happening with the things that we're doing. And I will give you a great example. We started a math program at the Career Center. I think it was 9. Mr. Prime, was it 9 positions, 9 math awards last year? And I think it was the 9th grade students at the Career Center got first place in 7 of them. Of course, Gary Roberts' son got one as well. But the kids in that Career Center, they saw relevance and they just wiped the board. We believe that there should be a ladder. Students should understand that when they graduate from high school, whatever certification they acquire, it should not be terminal. They need to see a ladder of progression. If I graduate from high school as an assistant and clerical, I can work my way up with additional education and training to a specialist, to a supervisor, to a manager, to a director. And it actually, we have in our document spelled out exactly the amount of money that the average salary for individuals, for students, and the progression. Okay, this is a book that I have up front, and I have 3 of those. So if there's anyone that would like to have a copy, I will absolutely give you a copy. And we're going to have this online. Well, Miss Tracy,
That's okay.
what am I doing
It's
here?
our programs of study. Yep.
Okay, and I will let Tracy talk about this.
Okay. So if you would like a book, you're welcome to come up here. I didn't really know how many to bring, so you're welcome to these. This is our programs of study. So very much like when you enter into college, you have kind of a catalog that follows you along. We will have 16, there's 16 of the national core curriculars, plus 1, which is, we'll have 17, so we're kind of going over and above. That 17th one is visual and performing arts. And that's what Dr. Teacher was talking about. We want every student to have an opportunity to get into their niche, to find out what it is that they're the best at. And a lot of times that art piece is overlooked. And I hate to say that, but we are concentrating on that as well. So there'll be 16 plus 1, so we'll have 17. So what we'll have, and what you're going to see if you decide to take this, is our programs of study is going to be online, and it will be available for parents and students along the way. And what it does is it provides what coursework they have to take, what associated jobs and careers that are there.
It's not showing them there for some reason.
Oh, forgive me.
Not projecting.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I apologize. I don't know why it's not projecting. But nonetheless, this booklet will have things like what careers are involved in the specific pathway that the student chooses, what careers, what jobs, and most importantly, when we're talking about this relevance piece, where does the science fit in? Where is the social studies? Where is the English language arts and the mathematics? Where does that come in? So all of our resources will be online and available for everyone to see.
Yeah, we'll skip through it.
It's okay. It's all right. All right.
You're still stuck on that.
I'm still stuck on that. Okay.
You're still
Okay.
stuck on that.
I am stuck on that one.
Maybe we can go here everything. Is that it?
Pardon? Let's just read that one.
You're still stuck.
Still stuck. I'm sorry.
Specialist.
Forgive me?
Specialist.
That's right. I'll let you talk for a minute while I bring it back up. Okay. Go ahead. There we go.
Okay.
There.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, can I show them the example about what the classrooms will look like?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that'd be good.
Okay.
Show them the overall. Show them
Okay.
the overall.
You want to talk about that a second?
Yeah, let me just
Okay.
show you the overall. So this is what I was talking about. When you enter the facility, this is the auditorium. This is the first academy. So this area will of course be for your fine arts. This is going to be your journalism program, and the journalism will take place here with the broadcasting, and then your English, your math, your social studies will all be around this academy, so that students, they'll have 90 minutes a day in this academy, but their core academics will be related. They'll still have the same requirements for policy 2510 with the Department of Ed, but the key is making it relevant. So each academy you will see is laid out the same way. Our law and public safety with our JRTC, our engineering program, our health occupations program, we've got an education and business program. We have the pet grooming over here on the end. You know, we have culinary arts and baking and pastry. We have all those different programs, and if you see, they're all laid out exactly the same way with the English, the math, and the social studies around each of those academies. Because one of the things that we realize is when students are in high school, they're often searching for an identity. We're helping to give them a good, positive, productive identity. If they so happen to enter a program that they don't like, they may have entered nursing and say, I do not like nursing. I want to try welding. Not a problem. It's not a problem because they're going to meet the policy 2510 standards by the state board. So they're actually going to have freedom to move to different programs if the current program is not of interest to them. The middle school is located here, and there is a STEM academy located for them as well. And that's where all of their CTE career exploration activities will occur. So,
All right. Okay, so what will that look like? Let's skip through here, and I want you to take a look at this, okay? And I know, I apologize, it's not very bright, but what you're looking at is what our health occupations lab, what we want it to look like. We want all of our labs to be state-of-the-art. We want them to look exactly what they might see out in industry when they get out. So we have a nice lab here. You can see that we have some students, everything is 100% simulated workplace. What does that mean? They'll be in full uniform. You can even see, if you look at this carefully, you can see some hierarchy. We have students that are in scrubs, and then we have students that have white coats. White coats may symbolize a supervisory position, or it could be the instructor, but there will be a hierarchy built in that's very similar to what they would see out on the job. Now, how is it different? Well, the idea with this is, with the classrooms that situate around the lab, we have focused on our 2510 policy. We have to do that. We're not going to do one thing against that. We're not going to have one waiver, not ask for any of that. But what we will do is, at times, we will focus on and concentrate on what is going on in that lab. So you can see that there are some folks that are taking like vital signs, maybe body temperature. Actually, we have some folks here in the middle that might be doing some charting. That is what's going to happen when folks look in from their classroom into that lab setting. They'll be able to see this going on live. So the math instructor might say, all right, students, let's take a look here for a moment. Let's look into our lab and see what's going on. What do you see that's happening with regards to mathematics? Well, when you're looking at blood or body temperature, taking pulse rates and all that, the mathematics then can be related to what it is that they're doing in the classroom. The science piece is easy, especially for this example. All of health occupations is going to have some major and higher level science that's involved. Okay, so you're going to say, well, what about the English language arts? Well, we do still have communications, we have technical writing, and the grammar is still as important on the charting and everything that's going on for documentation per patient. That's very important as well. English language arts teachers can say, okay, let's take a look here and see what's going on. With what I'm teaching today, do I find relevance? Can I bring relevance out of what is happening directly in the lab? And then, of course, the last one is social studies. We just had a celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. We had a holiday. All right, so I'm going to use that as an example. If we were that week, a week, 2 weeks ago, what I could do is I could ask the students what was going on during that time. It was a very tumultuous time, right, in our nation's history. What did healthcare look like then? What was going on? So it's very easy to be creative and bring topics in that relate. Now, again, we're teaching our state standards. We're not deviating one bit. But what we're trying to do is, while we're doing those state standards, we're bringing in the relevance to what's happening in the lab, and maybe what's happening in the lab that day.
perfect. Again, Tracy went over this. Basically, we're looking at the why of learning, the what of learning, and the how of learning. So engagement, representation, action, and expression. You know, someone made a comment to me in Texas one day. They said, well, let me explain something to you. Let me tell you why it's important for education to evolve. As a physician, if I practiced the way I did 30 years ago, the way I practice now, I'd have a lawsuit. You have to change with the times. We must change with the times. We must get our kids engaged. I'm sure if you speak to some of your own children, or you have neighbors or friends or family, you're going to know exactly what I'm saying is true. Our kids need this. Not only our kids, but our economy needs this. I need to provide you, my job is to provide you with students who are ready, capable, and eager to work. One of the things that I find is we have trouble with job retention because the individual doesn't feel rewarded. They're not excited about their job. So if you can excite the student and help them, it's going to help with job retention. You're not going to continue to train people and then have them leave. So it's important that these kids understand what's available to them and help them get there. I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I don't know if there's anything. This is a teacher part. I don't know if you want to speak to that or not.
Sure.
So she can show you just a couple of things.
So with the changes with regards to relevancy, that's going to take some communication. That's going to take our core teachers, science, math, social studies, English language arts, working in conjunction with the masters of their craft, our CTE folks. They're going to have to work in conjunction. So what we're going to do to ease that is we'll provide them resources at the start. So suggestions and resources and lesson plans and things that allow them the opportunity to already get a good start, a running start. So when you're working with, let's just use the example that I showed you a moment ago, we're working with maybe conversions or temperature and pulse and all those things. I need to be able to provide the mathematics instructor with those types of resources so they're not lost. Over time, what will happen as they start to communicate and work together, they'll not need or rely on those resources as much. They'll start to develop their own because really they are the masters of their craft on both sides. The automotive technician is going to know where the math is. He just needs to go down and work with he or she in the math department and say, all right, this is what I'm covering, this is when I'm covering it. You can emphasize it on your end and I'll emphasize it on my end. So it's both working together and in communication and collaboration through all of the projects. Not only that, there can be cross-curricular projects that are going on all the time, especially in our broadcasting and technology field. There's all kinds of cross-curricular with regard to journalism and the technology piece. The students will just benefit from that collaboration that can take place. And both teachers are learning from one another. The automotive technician is learning from the math teacher and vice versa. It gives them an opportunity to kind of bounce off of one another and provide the instruction that's needed and that reinforcement. Because remember, we're trying to get away from that question, when will I ever use this again, right? Or, we see this on Facebook, day 964 of not using algebra today, right? We've seen those funny little memes that come up. We want to try to avoid some of that. What would you like to
We're just trying to condense some of this. And again, this is the middle school. So we have the middle school booklet here. And I have it online as well, but I know we're short on time. But the middle school booklet clearly shows, will it bring up the different programs
Yes.
online? I can try to do that. I'll bring that up quickly.
And while she's doing that, I'm going to hand out some of our kind of our overall to let you take a look. Our career exploration I think you're going to like because it literally starts in pre-K. So pre-K and K are kind of looking at what are the jobs that are in our area. The police, fire, mail, those types of things. So then we kind of evolve as we go through the ladder and get up a little bit. So I'm going to hand out a few of these.
So one of the things that's really important for our middle school is to make sure that they have time to research the different types of careers, that they have plenty of time to do career interest inventories, that they understand the career ladder, the career technical education alignments, their personalized plan. I mean, now I feel like our students are thrown into a situation, and it's not anything that we're doing wrong in Nicholas County. I'm actually very proud of our teachers, how they instruct our kids, but they're operating off of what is provided to them. We are a centrally controlled state, which means the curriculum comes from the Department of Education. So our teachers are doing the best with what they have. So personalized plans, I feel like our students are really picking those plans without having as much knowledge and support in the career exploration as they should have. So, and then the community support and the student demos. Again, I don't know, the last one did not work. I'll try this, see if it does. If it does, it will show you the book of what she passed out. And it basically, it's not working. I've messed it up again.
That's okay.
So anyway, I don't know why it's not working. But we actually have it mapped out so that every student In 6th grade, they will have arts, AV, technology, and communication. They'll have finance, agriculture, business management and administration, and information technology. All students will understand the essential questions as why is work important? What are the career clusters and their pathways? What are my talents? What is the difference between a job and a career? And we have it stepped out as far as the classroom to career. We have it for every grade level, identify what the students will be exposed to. You will see in the book, these are links that will take students and provide them with additional resources and support. So we will be covering all the programs for students in middle school. And again, the book, this is a draft. It's not complete. It doesn't have everything detailed, but it is the outline structure of the middle school.
Now, business and industry and community support is going to be imperative because in our programs of study, and again, you're welcome, you'll see a draft of organizations or businesses or entities that we've contacted, we've reached out. If I've missed you, I've got business cards, you can send me a quick email. What we want to do is we want to do that. We want to ask you what you need, tell us what skill sets they might be missing, what certifications might they need, what is the pathway that makes the most sense for the student. That expertise is going to come from here. Also, we want parental input and student input because this is student voice from the very beginning all the way through, even into the adult realm. We want folks to be able to come and talk to us. We're going to have a really nice setup with regards to our parents to educate them, show them the pathway, show them the natural progression, and give them an opportunity to talk with their students to see what it is that they want to do, and then assist us because we'll have pathways that kind of are like, you are here, that old sign that says you are here. Well, where can I go from here? What can I get from here? From the landing point that I'm at right now. So in a time where, in some areas, parents are being pushed to the side. We want folks to come in. We want business and industry. We want parents to come in to provide us with the most expertise. We can't do it alone, and we need that expertise to help us make better decisions as well.
So we have one other area that I'm very proud of. We think that it's too often across our state. The policy that governs special education guidance is State Board Policy 2419. And in that policy, that tells how you have to operate, what types of services you have to provide for special education students. Well, unfortunately, those students, their voices are often not heard. And that's across the state. That means that there's limited opportunity. So if you have a student that is interested in automotive technology, and that student is not capable of mastering the content of that, instead of sticking them in a business to cut down boxes or do something they have no interest in, we've created a pathway for every single program for the student who is functioning at a level with an IEP that they're not able to be successful in the standard track. So for example, I'm going to use Mr. LaRose, where I saw him here. I'm going to use Mr. LaRose. So I went to him and I said, Mr. LaRose, I said, if I could provide you with a student, I said, you don't know if a student had an IEP in school or not, do you? And he said, well, no, I have no idea. I said, if I can provide you with a student who can clean your cars, come to work drug-free, and show up every day, would you hire them? He said, I'll hire as many of you as you send. So the student who's not capable of being an automotive technician, we've now provided an opportunity for them to work in the automotive field by going to a local business, providing a valuable service they're having trouble getting students to participate in, and to help them to feel worthwhile. Tracy Chenoweth, she did something phenomenal. She was a director of a career center. She had a little girl with an IEP who had a dream to be a cosmetologist. It was not in her future. It was not possible. But guess what she did? She worked with local business and industry, and they said, give us a shampooer, we'll hire her. This little girl, they created a local certification for shampooer, and this little girl works going throughout the community certain days of the week as a shampooer for these businesses. That child now has a very rewarding life because she's getting to do something she was passionate about. So we've worked with our special education director, we've worked with many people to come up with specific skills that we can make these kids employable, so that we're not just focusing on our best and brightest. We're going to focus on them because I want them to have the best. But we're focusing on every student at every level and stretching them and giving them the most opportunity we can. I don't know where else we are. So we're time. I think this has covered everything. I don't know if we have some questions. I don't know if anybody here has anything they want to say or ask, or you good?
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thanks for being informative, and hopefully that got some information out. So we do have a few questions that we'd like to ask, if that's okay. You guys can respond however you would like to, and I guess if you say pass, we'll move on. How about that?
Sounds fair.
Fair enough. So one of the questions from the audience was, are the HVAC or plumbing pros, are they compensated in any way for opening their business to apprenticeships? And then I would also say, and go and ask the last part of this, would that said professional need to be certified in some type to qualify to be able to teach that student?
So the business would not be, they will not be compensated financially. Their compensation will be by having a better workforce to give them good employees for what they're looking for. As far as teaching that, if you want to be an instructor, if it's any career technical education field, it only requires the individual to have 4 years of experience in the field or 2 years in an associated degree, and go through an 18-hour program through the Department of Education, and be able to pass your basic skills in English and mathematics.
Okay. And certainly right along with that, if students go out to study, shadow in that apprenticeship with that professional in that field, such as construction, how does the liability work for the owners?
We will carry insurance.
Okay. Okay, this is one of the questions that I've had. If a student starts down one career path, spends maybe 1 or 2 years down that path, makes a U-turn, how does that look? Does it add more time to their diploma? Does it not? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It doesn't add any more time. And actually, there's 2 different philosophies in education. And so, for example, you may have a student who says, I really want to be a welder. And they spend 2 years in welding, and they get their GMAW and SMAW welding certifications, which makes them highly employable. But while working in welding, they realize that they really have a passion for automotive collision repair. So in the 2 years, the following 2 years, they can go into automotive collision repair and gain those certifications. So that is possible. That's happening across our state. Now there may be other situations that the student says, I'm so passionate about welding, I don't want to do anything else. So then they could actually stay in the program for 4 years, take a deeper dive, learn uphill welding, downhill welding, welding of different pipes and different things like that. So they can actually go deeper, or they can have a broader approach. If we have a student who, it's not fair to lock someone in, it's just as important for a student to understand what they don't like as what they do like. So if you get started down a path and it's not, it doesn't satisfy you, then we're not modifying the standards. They're going to have the same standards they're learning now. They can actually move to a different program. It keeps you from changing majors 3 times or 4 times in college like I did.
And that was the concern, right? Lots of people change in college. Now we're asking those high school students to pick a track. Pretty sure I was going to be a psychologist in 9th grade, and I really chose machines over people and chose computers. So anyway, there you go. Kind of glad I didn't stick with my first choice. Okay. Can you talk to us about how, if we do not pursue this curriculum and the Career Center at Glade Creek, how this affects the mediated agreement from 2018, and why can this curriculum not work at the current Career Center?
Okay, it will affect the mediated agreement it will break the mediated agreement. What we've been advised, in June, the state superintendent of schools as well as the director of the SBA appeared in our Nicholas County Board of Education. They both actually drove up from Charleston. They made it very clear that the mediated agreement could not be broken and that we must go forward. What we have been told over and over and over by FEMA is that we must stay true to the mediated agreement. If we do not stay true to the mediated agreement, that we would lose funding. What I have in documentation for the 428 plan, it says may lose funding. So of course that is some nice words with the way FEMA has placed it. If the facility does not, let's just say the mediated agreement is broken, again, I do not think it's possible to break the mediated agreement. If it is broken in some way, then the $42 million that has been allotted for the Career Center would actually have to be returned, because that was contingent upon State Board Policy 6200 that requires the new construction of high schools to be comprehensive. We used the formula that shows that 40% of the students in 9th through 10th grade have to have exposure to career technical education. Students in 11th to 12th grade, 80% of the students have to have at least one class. That was vetted through FEMA. The state board stood up, the state board superintendent along with council stood up and defended the plan, and so FEMA had to pay the additional $42 million. I don't know if that answered your question, but and the reason that it can't work the way it is right now, you have individuals, the structure, the layout of the school will facilitate the optimal delivery of this curriculum. Having it another way is going to be very challenging, just the way that we explained it, that if you are in your own academy, then you can easily bring relevance for that academy. The way it is now, whether you're a welding student, electrical student, a hospitality student, or whatever you're in, you're going to be mixed in the same math classes as all other students, in the same English language arts classes. So having people, vested in their own interests, areas of interest, that's what helps facilitate it.
Very cool, okay. All right, and then our last question, I just want to give them the option, and that is to our board members. And the question is, basically the same question that Donna just asked was about that mediated agreement in those career places, whether that would be at Glade Creek or where it's currently located. Would you guys like to respond to any of that? I mean, it's totally okay, you don't have to, but we've had some of those.
I'm not sure why the mediated agreement keeps being brought up, because as of now, we are not deviating from that. That hasn't, I know in the past it was brought up over and over and over, but here in the last couple of weeks, that's all I've heard. Why are y'all going to do this? Why? We have not said anything about changing the Glade Creek site. That would be crazy. We've spent a lot of money there, and we would lose those funds. So I'm not sure why that's been brought up here lately. And by the way, did you notice at the beginning when she was talking about her son and his job making more money? I think she's wanting us to give her a pay raise. Anyway.
He's got to be one of the biggest jokesters I've ever worked with in my life. Would you like to say something?
Going back to the mediated agreement, and Chip is absolutely right, there's been absolutely no discussion about deviating from that at this time. And I would say this about the mediated agreement: you need to go back and recall that occurred 4 years ago now, and that was a sit-down mediated agreement between the superintendent and the president and vice president of the Nicholas County Board of Education, and the state superintendent of schools, and the president of the State Board of Education, and the vice president. So that mediated agreement took quite a bit of time to come up with, but what was determined there between the State Board of Education and the Nicholas County Board of Education was what was in the best interest of all Nicholas County students. And so that agreement, I don't want to ever think about it even being violated, because it is important that we follow through for our children and their futures. The second thing is at the Career Center currently, I think we're maxed out on space and perhaps the curricular programs that we can have over there. We have more to offer over here as far as the actual programs that we'll be offering to our children. And you can correct me on that if I'm wrong, Superintendent. But the one other thing that's very important here, that right now our kids spend a lot of time on the road traveling to the Career Center during the day and back, maybe 2 or 3 times. I don't know all the times they go over there. But that's valuable education time that they should be in the classroom. With the new approach of having the comprehensive high school here at Glade Creek, Richwood High School students are going to participate as well. But we will bring them over the first thing in the morning, just like the kids that come in here from all over this side of the county. They'll come in at the same time. They'll transfer groups crosswise. One will come over from Richwood at noon, and the group that's over here will go back to Richwood in the afternoon, and we'll send them home at the end of the day. So children are losing very little educational time in the travel where they are now. So there's some very good benefits, I think, to having our program over here, and I just wanted to clarify my thinking on that.
I think earlier on in the negotiations with FEMA, they went over and over the fact that if the funds were misused in any way other than what was agreed upon, that the board would be liable to pay those back to the federal government. And they brought up cases where that actually had happened. So we were told more than once that that's the case. So I think it's a very good precautionary warning. But I'm excited about this new program. So I think there's a lot of times as young people, we don't understand what we want or how to get it. So this presents a lot of opportunities so that our young people have a better picture of life and what they can do. I certainly wished I'd have had it when I was young, but I survived, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So one thing I was going to mention also, we were in a meeting with the state superintendent of schools and myself and Dr. Tetrick, ZMN, a couple other folks. But anyway, the state superintendent of school bragged on her curriculum approach and would like to adopt it for the whole state. So I tried to sell it to them, but because we're going to need some more money.
This is true. I'll have to say Mr. Prine has always been very positive and supportive. So he did, the state superintendent is very excited about this approach. He thinks it's the right way to go, and we can have it in Nicholas County. One of the challenges we have is having enough money to complete the projects. Back when we first developed the programs, we went the extra step. We were able to secure an extra $100 million to go ahead and build the additional facilities. No one could have ever foreseen, a pandemic and all that we've gone through. So we are working. I'm working hard with people to try to get additional money for the facility. But we have to make it work. I mean, we don't have any other option. I know that a lot of times that, FEMA has told us over and over and over, we've been through 3 election cycles since the flood. And FEMA told us then that no matter what happens, we have to stay with the plan. They said we build schools all over the nation every day. And that if we change the plan every time a new board comes in, then we will never have a school built. So rest assured, FEMA's pretty firm on staying forward with this plan. Our problem is having the funding and looking for ways. So I ask you, if you know of ways to support us, in securing additional dollars, you have any ideas, any avenues through economic development or anything, please reach out to me, and I welcome any support that you give.
Okay, seems like our final question here that could be one of some interest, even of my interest. So sports facilities. Can you elaborate a little bit about, it actually says on this question that it may have been cut from the slide.
It has been. Unfortunately, the original plan did call. We have a lot of work that needs done to this facility. I've tried to do some upgrades. Our turf had been expired for like 4 years. We really need some upgrades. Most of our new schools, if you go out to the schools, what do you see? You see sports complexes at the school facility. So we originally had enough money that we had planned a football field, a soccer field, a half court or a half field for practice. We had a baseball field and 2 softball fields. And all of that, and actually our current plan and what's happening, all of those facilities, all of those areas will be laid out with drainage, gravel, turf ready. But since this happened, we, with our inflation, we do not have the money to move forward with that. We went forward to cut the schools to the minimum of policy 6200 because we had a communication from SBA stating schools within those bounds may have the opportunity to secure additional funding. So to be fair and reasonable, and for everybody in the county to see that we're really trying to be fair and reasonable, we stripped everything to 6200. That means ball fields are not included within 6200. But there's an opportunity. It's going to cost $7 or $8 million to turf each of the fields, to build a field house and things like that. At least the facility, since it's already in our contract, it's absolutely going to be established. So if there is an opportunity that maybe we can take a field at a time, maybe our tax revenue will continue to be strong. Maybe we will have donations. Maybe some, there will be opportunities, I believe, to in the future go ahead and construct those fields, but it's going to take a community effort.
Okay, well, we've kind of came to the end here where we want to be mindful of the lunch hour time because some of you have left your business, left your work, and hopefully you've got some good food. And while I'm talking about food real quick, when you leave, we actually expected a few more people than this. Now, that can benefit a couple ways. One, it could benefit you by grabbing a to-go plate. So on your way out, if you would like a to-go plate, we have plenty of foam plates that close, so you can put them in your vehicle, take them home with you. I would love for you to do that. That'd be awesome. And then maybe you can have some dinner later on. Or right now, it doesn't matter. I'm probably going to eat throughout the day. It just is what it is. So please do so. But thank you very much. I definitely want to thank our Board of Education and for Dr. Tetrick for coming and just sharing. And Ms. Tracy also for just sharing those things. It's about getting that information out, right? So we at the Chamber, one of the things that we are going to be very concerned about in the upcoming years, and we should always be concerned about this, is it's about enhancing that business community, right? It's about taking our businesses, how do we enhance them, how do we encourage them, how do we give them opportunities to do better. And one of those ways is to get information to them. And this is one of those ways. This kind of happened all within a week. This Lunch and Learn, and I was proud of our team. They kind of threw it all together, said let's do it, and it seems like nothing fell through. So that's a good thing. So we appreciate you. So thank you very much for sharing all that information. If we didn't get to a question and you asked one of those questions, and I apologize for that, but she has also offered, Dr. Tetrick, if you would like to stay around and maybe ask that question to her, she would be more than happy to try her best to answer it. So if we didn't get to your question, please do that. So thank you very much. So on behalf of, my name, I guess I didn't introduce myself earlier, but I am Jason Eads. I am the president of our chamber. And we've had several people up here, and our executive director to our vice president, and several others in the background. So we appreciate all of your hard work also. So without further ado, I appreciate you. Grab your to-go plates. And the Summersville Chamber of Commerce, we're engaging businesses.